Hello, my name is Yana, and this is my channel, The Unpopular Opinion Becoming Popular. And I am a heretic investigator. I haven't been online for a week or so now, and there are reasons why. We hit the gate of mystery on the 10th of January, and I ended up actually driving all the way down to California in my hometown, Nevada City, and I got to do I got to work a circus show. It was called The Ritual, and my best friend put it on. She's an amazing projector, and that makes her have this really potent team that she's created, and the perfect theme honestly came through this past week. So forgive me for not being online, but there's been a lot going on, including TikTok getting banned, which I knew was going to happen. I have a friend who works for TikTok, so it's been quite a hustle. And yeah, there's other ways to find people, but typically, I'm new to TikTok, and it's just been interesting to see the feud and, what's going on. So I hope that you're feeling a little bit grounded. So I'm going to deliver a couple gates here that I missed the last week, and we are starting the beginning of a new rave year. So the human design calendar consists of 6 days per week, and that aligns with 64 gates with the I Ching and how it moves. So for the hardcore human design folk, New Year's is actually starting tomorrow. And I just wanted to be able to revisit the last 2 gates before we get to the new year. So thanks for tuning in. The gates we missed, one of them is 61, and that gate is in the head center. It's at the very top of our body graph chart. And the head center is a pressure center, so it's the pressure to know things. And we're always trying to answer other people's questions from a certain place, whether that's actually finite information or it's coming from the not self, which the not self likes to answer people's questions, but they don't actually, in fact, know the answer. They just want to be the one that delivers the message, whether it's wrong or not. And I remember doing that a lot when I was younger, hanging out as a 21-year-old at bars, and just being that person that pretends to know in order to have substance. So I also do have this gate active in my body graph. So the pressure to know is really supposed to fuel inspiration for other people, and the ability to talk about ideas at the right time, at the right place, in order to affect another person or group of people. So I would consider this being a huge TED Talk sort of situation. So otherwise, if I get too heavy on knowing where my life path goes and what is the universe planned for me, I get really disoriented and lost, and put a lot of pressure into the melancholy state that my emotional body gets in, which is you don't know enough, you haven't solved the mystery of life, you haven't solved your own personal mystery, you don't know where you're headed. That kind of questioning happens a lot if you have gate 61, and it, like I said, can be very destabilizing, especially without gate 24 to match it. And we are in the last quarter of the quarter of mutation, so the last week and a half have been all about the keepers of the wheel. And the keepers of the wheel are like a secret society almost that keeps the world turning. So they're considered the continuity or the glue of the world. And the keepers of the wheel are people that like to be hidden. They're like the ninjas, you know. They don't really like to be seen. And there's a reason for that, because, you know, you're supposed to keep certain things hidden in order for them to really sustain and to be a profound manifestation of work. You know, you don't really have to explain that to people, and that's actually a very hard thing to do. Most of us like to talk and boast about the things that we have going on, and it's almost like what you start your conversation out doing. But keepers of the wheel are profound in their secrecy, and they keep the world turning secretly, whether they have the funds, the knowledge, the hidden occult information, whatever it is, it keeps the world turning. The gate of mystery being perfect to lie within this quarter. And yeah, solving life's mystery, like I tell myself, I just gotta keep getting to know myself with this system, with human design, because it allows me to see the contradictions in my chart. It allows me to see what energies duel within me and don't get along within me. So getting to know your inner devil or your inner deity or God or whatever you'd like to say, like Godhead, is very profound, you know, to be able to work with them and to really see them for what they are, because it gives you a lot of perspective of who you are as a person. And to really, you know, work with these energies is very beneficial. Otherwise, you're kind of lying dormant and not knowing where the fire comes from or how to use this fire. It was perfect, you know, to honestly work a circus performance within the Gate of Mystery. It just really gave it that profound allurement and awe, you know, of magic that is being created by all these performers. And it was called The Ritual. It was just perfect, you know, for this time. And we all were in this magical bubble. That's kind of what really became clear for me when I arrived in California. I live close to Seattle, so it was like a 12-hour shift, and I hadn't done a road trip by myself in a really long time. And usually road trips are a time for me to like get clear with myself. And what was clear was that we were encompassed in this magical bubble of like not really knowing what's going to happen, but the story at the end is like going to be huge and altering for everyone that shows up. And that's exactly what happened. It was really like stuff happening behind the scenes that, you know, each one of us holds dear personally to ourselves, and we all have a different depiction of what that looked like and what this ritual was about and for. But we all came together and got to share inspiration and collaboration and creativity to tell this story of our personal endings, of our personal beginnings, to restart and transform and blank slate what's going on in our minds for at least a moment before we come back to our day-to-day lives. And yeah, I would like to know, of course, like I missed a couple weeks with you guys. If you have any desire in telling me a story of what, has been happening the beginning of the year or the end of the year, depending on your calendar, um, what kind of mysteries came through for you? What kind of stories did they create? Um, what does this pressure feel like? For me to relieve the pressure, like honestly, like humming and singing, dancing, um, juggling, whatever it is, like gets me through this mental pressure. So if you could find something that helps you release some of that intensity in your head, because the mind is supposed to run passenger. Um, share, also with other people what really helps you settle your mind's pressure on yourself. I do want to talk about the questions of the week here. So we're going to go into the questions. Let's see if I missed anything here. Right. The end of the year is all about personal truths, and it's just allowing yourself to be okay with your personal truth as well, like whatever that may look like for you right now. Like allow it to be able to change and to dwell in what your inner truth looks like, and wear it, wear it in your body and on yourself proudly, in order to kind of just make sure that it is finite. Because once the mystery is resolved, there's always going to be another question. So the more and more realizations you have, the more you wear this confidence that it is in fact who you are and the system works for you. But yeah, don't get lost, don't get lost pressuring yourself too hard, just try to inspire people with stories, especially if you have this gate. Questions of the week. What mysteries are your favorite? Do unfinished endings inspire you to make one up yourself, or are they always frustrating? Those like dead end horror stories where you never got to see like the end character, or like you're like, wow, like the anticipation was there the whole entire time. I was working up a sweat, and then, they had me fucking like in for a loop and then didn't really give me the end. Like those stories typically frustrate me, but at the same time, like they get my gears turning so much that I'm like, wow, that was like psychologically fucked. But it really like put things into perspective for me, because I got to like think about it so much and the psychology behind it. But it is frustrating for me personally. How serious do you have to be in life? And what does seriousness truly feel like in the body? Is it frantic or bold and assured? So I don't have my head defined, and that allows a lot of like things to come and go within my knowing. People that have their head defined typically like to be very structured, and the structure is finite, so it's unshakable almost. Like once they know a fact, it's factual, and that is that. Whereas for me, it's very fluid.